is a trilogue discussion on enabling the autonomous supply chain with IoT, AI, and blockchain. Let me introduce our esteemed panelists for this session before they give us the more information. Mr. Aqil Ashique, the CEO of the Driver Logistics, Mr. Mandar Translytics, Mr. Udhbav Rai, Fleetx. Now I hand over the proceedings to Mr. Mandar. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So indeed, it's a very interesting topic we have got on how it's on autonomous supply chains. So I will introduce the topic and then we'll have some of the question answers. So instead of having a moderator, we propose that we ourselves will have these discussions and we'll try to put it in a structured way. So that's how we are now going to start with. So let's first see what has happened in India in last decade. So India has gone through so many good changes in supply chain. I would say supply chain in India has gone tremendous changes in last 10 years, 1 decade, and especially when you see the track that is getting in supply chain is one of the major areas is automations. And with automation comes the requirement of data, use of that data, and using those data to take some meaningful decisions. And that's where I think this topic today, what we have is a very interesting topic wherein we can discuss through what changes are happening in India, what exactly, how they are helping in different supply chains in India. And we'll also touch base on how they are changing globally as well. What are the global trends that are happening? And then we'll be opening the things for questions. Okay, so we'll just start with an introduction. So my name is Mandar Shirsavakar. So I head Translytics. So I'm the founder and CEO there. So we are a supply chain analytics company. We are kind of, in simple words, we're trying to build a brain on top of transaction system, which will help companies to take meaningful decisions. That's what we are doing. So with me today, we have, I'll start with Aqil Ashique. So Aqil, if you can introduce yourself, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mandar, for the intro. So I'm Aqil, and I had a company called Driver Logistics. So we are basically a pure play 3PL, which, 3PL is basically an operation intensive industry, or sort of thing. But again, how we differentiate ourselves is basically we've built a proprietary homegrown TMS and an FMS, wherein we manage the entire transaction through that, which further integrates with other tools as well. Yeah, and I'll give it to Fleetx.
Hi, thank you, Mandarji and Aqil. My name is Udhbav. I'm one of the co-founders at Fleetx. We are a startup based in Gurgaon dealing into fleet management for logistics companies. And our goal is to basically help companies make actionable, give them actionable data and help them make meaningful decisions based on data science, IoT data, and other data from their fleet management operations. Yeah.
Right. So let's start with the discussion. So the first obvious thing, entire changes in supply chain, what are happening today, they definitely start with the consumer expectations. The customer is the king. So all the supply chains are driven by the customer expectations. In other words, typically it is also called as customer-driven supply chains now. Gone are the days where the companies were the kings and they were pushing their products into the market. Now everything customers drive. So, and these expectations actually bring a lot of changes in whatever operations we are doing, and supply chain is like no different to this. So the first thing obviously is like, what are the customer expectations? So we have three people coming from 3 different areas. So I'll pass on each one of them like to introduce what are their customer expectations. So Aqil comes from a actually execution side, what he sees as expectations. I have Udhbav, who is coming from a totally different thing. He has customers, kind of a B2B platform. He's also into B2B. And I'm also coming from a different third angle. So we discuss the customer expectations as our first topic. So over to you, Aqil.
Yeah. So, like I told you, right, so you can't, so logistics early on, or, a decade ago, until a decade ago, probably was sort of a cost department, right? Now, it has transformed largely into a service unit, where, people differentiate, or companies differentiate with, providing great customer experience through, delivering products better, handling products better. So this is where, companies are expecting, large companies are expecting more from logistics or transporters, much more than just delivering goods. They have to understand. So for us, we have to, we're sort of industry agnostic. When I say industry agnostic, we work with, FMCD clients, FMCG clients, chemicals and paint, tires and all that. So the biggest expectation from our customer is to make sure, okay, you're not a logistics company. You're my partner, so you have to understand my needs in business. So when I say, as a customer, when I, to a logistics partner, okay, now I need to understand, I need you to understand my concerns. You need to understand what am I selling, who are my customers, how do you deal with my customers, especially in B2B. So we predominantly we do order management to delivery to their retail points. So are you making our retail points, distributors happy? Are you taking care of them? Are you representing our brand? Right, and also, are you giving me that, sort of, what they expect from us? Are you giving me cost efficiency and, also the service levels? So, and when you do this with multiple industry people, you have to build your systems and data, in such a way that, it builds on that. You build the fundamental standard intelligence, and then you build, industry to industry, specific intelligence. And also, logistics is more than just let's say as a geography network part of it. So if you look at India, you can have a standard sort of routing and delivering things. And on top of that, every market, every state, every city in India is different. So are you building those data insights, those information insights onto your platforms or onto your team, and are you able to give these different industries, localized solutions? Is something, as logistics companies or as customers, they expect from logistics companies today. Yeah.
So Aqil, if I have to ask you, what are the visibility challenges? What are the expectations from the customers on visibility of their orders, of their goods? And what are the challenges you are facing in these areas in terms of, because visibility will come with technology.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before moving to Udhbav, because I want to understand because you are actually executing the logistics for them,
Yeah.
and, sticking to our topic, what kind of changes you are trying to bring in your logistics companies to be able to meet these customer expectations from the visibility point of view, from the technology point of view?
Yes. So visibility point of view is sort of a large topic altogether. Because I'll tell you, if a customer, so when you're dealing with B2B customers, you probably have SPOCs with them, ultimately. So do they want in each and every transaction, do they want notification in terms of visibility, and do they want to track each and every vehicle live? That depends on the customer also. So your customer is basically, see, when you deal with customers, so I'll tell you, when you set expectations, right, you're not actually dealing with logistics department. you're indirectly dealing with, sales also, because salespeople, they're the ones, who are going to follow up with your guys, right? And then ultimately, even after sales, of delivery happens, proof of submission of proof of delivery, and are you able to, like, improve their cash flows and stuff, and those things, everything matters, right? Like, so so can you as a company, onboard multiple vendors and solve all these problems for these guys in one go? So can you become that partner where, they can solve each and every problem, not just delivery, making sure, things are delivered like intact, on time, and the proof of delivery is submitted. Are you making sure, their sales turnover is, turnaround is, improving. These things are there. So in terms of visibility, you can give, like, you can build on stuff. You can start with, event-based. Are you giving a visibility from order management to outbound to delivery to, like, POD to, like, IOD to information delivery to proof of delivery to even, like, it goes, it keeps going up. So we do that. We do these things, quite well. But on top of that, some customers even demand, like, so if you look at the sales people, they might even ask you, no, I don't want, I want more than just event-based. I want live tracking, and also, like, in terms of visibility, some customers, very close to us, and they ask, can you give a portal for our customers to see, to track our things? So, and for us, managing these sort of, consignee data and, cleaning this data and data imputation and stuff is where, challenges are. And this is a big opportunity for logistics companies. Look, people who understand, logistics companies who understand these perceived expectations of customers, if they can, I keep telling everybody, this is a multi-decade problem in India. It's not, something you can solve with the front-end tech. It needs more than just the front-end technology. You need, a lot of industry experts working together to understand these needs and solve it, neatly and look at it as a long-term thing. Because otherwise, once you give them, wrong information and data, they lose trust. Once the trust is lost, it's very hard to, like, rebuild the trust on platforms.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this will be a right time to pass on to Udhbav, because you rightly mentioned the requirement of these things, and that's where the companies like Fleetx and the areas that he's working in, his expertise comes in. So what are your experiences on the customer expectations? Because on one side you have the companies who are actually dealing with logistics, and you also have to deal with their customers as well, because and ultimately your platform is also serving their expectation. So what are your expectations, or customer expectations from you?
Yeah, so in my experience, the customer expectation is something that how will I benefit from this? Right. In terms of, not in terms of ease of work or in terms of reports or anything like that. It's simply how will I make more money out of this? If you are providing some kind of analytics to them, they want to see that where I can give them some actionable data, whether it be through live tracking, but they don't have the manpower to do that. So they want some kind of actionable data where they can tell, okay, this guy is making me lose 10,000 rupees a month. Let's solve that problem. That's the base customer expectation that we have seen from our customers. Obviously, they have inputs on what more features that they can ask for. These features can be anything from providing a consignee dashboard or giving them customized reports to providing on-field MIS operatives for them to use a platform, because they don't want to invest in someone to monitor the platform daily. So these right. are the expectations that we face, mostly around saving them money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just brief some of my challenges as well, because so whenever we approach to any customers, the first thing that they ask us, can we implement AI and ML? Okay, and that's a open question they ask. Then we literally have to bring them to the ground because see, AI and ML is kind of has become a buzzword. Everyone wants to implement the AI and ML in their companies. But for anyone to implement that AI and ML, the first most critical part is the quality of the data that goes into these models, AI and ML. If the quality of the data is not good, it is as good as garbage in, garbage out. They are not going to give you good insights or good decision. And that's where we have to teach the customer. Boss, it will take time to reach to those levels. You will have to start from somewhere. That's where the different levels of analytics comes in. And your ultimate goal is to go with the fully automated functions of AI and ML. And that's where, so I always give them example, like ultimately you have to aim for a plane taking off in autopilot mode. But for that to happen, there are a lot of external data set that get used in it to reach to those automated decisions making. And in order for you to reach to those autonomous supply chain decisions, you'll have to first improve the quality of data. And I feel that's where the data collection comes in picture, and which I think Fleetx is doing really well in entering into the sensor areas, the IoT areas. I think that's where I think now we should pass on to him, Udhbav, to understand how Fleetx is doing, or what is his experience in collecting the data from the ground and keep the right quality data. So I think that will be my next question to you. What are the areas, how you're working in these areas to collect the quality data?
I think to ensure good data quality, one of the key challenges that we have to invest in is a team of data analysts or data engineers, you can say, because when you are talking about, when I am sending you a message from my phone to your phone, we are trusting some very stable technologies, right, which is, mobile networks, the capability of our phone to translate a message and then transmit it. But when we are talking about IoT data, the stability of those data gets compromised because that hardware is somewhere in a field. In our case, it's in a truck which is going through mountains, through dust. Right. So the stability of that data gets affected, and that is where we have the biggest task is to sanitize that data. That's where we invest a lot of our efforts in. Another effort that we need to invest is quality control during hardware installations and all. So, like for example, if you guys have done home delivery of haircuts or home use of haircuts and all, nowadays there are a lot of checkpoints in place by the app dev companies to submit photos, to submit documentation that these things are being done on the site properly. The same has to be applied on field by our partners so that they can ensure quality of installation. So these two things ensure that the data comes in a stable format because we cannot rely on someone else to do that for us.
So just to continue to your last point, do you also have any situations where the vendor has, your customer has taken the devices from somebody else and is expecting you to work on those devices and expecting a very quality data?
We do have that where someone wants to reuse existing IoT hardware and wants to migrate that hardware to our platform. And that indirectly causes loss of data quality. So there is no easy way to convince that customer that there is no, we will not be able to provide you this much of SLA because you are using essentially a second-hand phone, something like that. Right? As soon as you buy it and you go out of the shop, your warranty ends. The same thing with us, that if you're using existing hardware, you will lose what we claim to give you. So that pitch in itself ensures that about 90% of our customers don't use any other hardware because then we as a company get to keep our quality. But otherwise we'll just be a GPS company.
And Aqil, question goes to you because you are actually executing it on ground, and the data is generating, from that point. What are the challenges do you face, and what kind of quality measures you're ensuring to keep that data right? So it just from a point of view of collection of data, from a people, process, and technology point of view.
Yes, yes. So I think Mandaji earlier, as you mentioned, right? I see a lot of startups, coming up with, claiming that they use a lot of AI and AI/ML, right? But one must understand that what is AI/ML? AI/ML is basically, see, AI is what? Basic artificial intelligence, if you call it, is like, basically, it's like teaching a child, to do something, right? If you tell a kid, 2 plus 2 is 5, he'll believe it. He'll start believing wrong stuff, right? So similarly, AI/ML, do we have, one thing is, do we have, can companies, can startups define what they want to achieve with AI/ML first, right? Only then, once that is defined, they have to work backwards in terms of, collecting and, cleaning and, getting data ready for some use. This is very, very super hard when it comes to supply chain, because supply chain analytics have like unbelievable amount of data points. Like, it's not just, because unbelievable amount of data points from number of vendors, that too from right from procurement to last mile delivery to even the reverse logistics part. So this is a lot of vendors, in motion, coming together to just deliver one product. So how do you ensure as manufacturers or shippers or even logistics companies working with multiple guys, how do you ensure, okay, this is where blockchain law will come into play. Like, are we giving the right data to right into the are you getting the right data from the right people, right? Ultimately, you see, today, data, the only way you can probably validate data is through how much we are paying, right? Like, ultimately, like, to the customer. So at least, with that in mind, are we able to completely create a loop of data, like, where that is okay. Maybe now we can use that data to get into like an AI and ML. This is very sort of a big topic, but we work with multiple vendors and stuff, and multiple GPS vendors, multiple fleet vendors, like multiple logistics providers. So are we transacting, like, right from the financial data to like in the operational data? Are we able to like collect data really well first, and also with the collected data, are we able to do like data sanitization really well? So this is sort of, once these things are done, and then at least a couple of data points, you put 3-4 data points put together, clean them really well, and find some find a goal to like start getting into like AI/ML. So I think in that term, it's a Herculean task, when it comes to like, I keep thinking about NLP and ULIP and all. So it's going to be a big Herculean task for
That's
government.
cool.
Yeah.
So I'll just add a few of my own experience in these areas. So what I feel is when you are starting analytics, so the base, if I look at 3 types of data that we'll have to use to make that supply chain autonomous, is first will be a data at rest. That is like a history data. So what we can do with that data is a set of descriptive analytics dashboards we can prepare, and we can design for the customers, wherein they can see what has happened in their supply chain. But at the same time, the descriptive analytics plays an important role of ensuring your data quality is right, because that, when we see what is happening and when we try to draw an insights from the past, we can always match this insight with what exactly has happened, and there is no risk in taking any decision. So that more the descriptive analytics companies start using, there will be more and more decision making that will happen. The next comes in picture is the optimization piece, which is data in motion, that typically, as it is called as in analytics, wherein the optimization, so it comes the network optimization, comes load optimization, route optimization, inventory optimization, all these are, so there are some tactical decision making, some strategic decision making, and finally it goes to the predictive analytics where the ML and AIs can be used. So to me, I think the organization should flow through this, they should go through this journey first. And that's where, AI and ML, the accuracy of the AI ML we can ensure in these cases.
AML is like a cap.
True.
Ultimately. Without the foundational layers, it's like you said,
Absolutely.
it's garbage in, garbage out. And people won't use it. If you give them in a garbage in, garbage out, they'll lose trust in systems.
So now coming to you, Udhbav, how are you using these advanced technologies like AI or ML to, to automate those decisions making? I guess you have started working on these areas now, where you have own team of data scientists. How do you see the future of this particular in India growing, let's say in like 5 to 10 years from now?
We have data scientists, but we don't use AI ML. Like you said, AI ML is something that is the buzzword, good for investor pitch, not for consumers or everything. But yes, data scientists and data analysts are the base for what will eventually, or what might eventually become an ML and then an AI-based decision making. Because right now, the first job is to do some kind of data sanitization, which we are doing 100%, and then data prediction, or predictions based on data, which we are doing 50% of the time, which what you were talking about, predictive analytics, that based on patterns previously decided by human intelligence, we are able to find those patterns, program it, create a product around it, and give the same patterns to the customer, but it's all still mathematically statistical intelligence only. The system does not learn by itself. Someone has to tell the system to it. But that's the base step. So in our case, what we are doing is figuring out how to use our existing data after sanitization to give some kind of actionable metrics. Again, taki the customers know that, okay, these vehicles, these drivers are losing me money. And Fleetx is providing them this information based on previous history. Even though it's manually computed logic, it's still enough to make them see an ROI in our product. And that's what we want, like to see them see an ROI, to have them see an ROI in our product.
Right.
That's a summary of it.
So what, according to you, how much time approximately will it require to reach to a stage where we will start seeing really autonomous supply chains in India?
In logistics, at least another 5 years, I think maximum another 5 years, where we can able to see a lot of database decisions being taken. They are already being taken right now, but not to the level where we are hoping to see in the current year. Things like automated route planning, automated this like PODs that you said. You don't need people to do that job. That can be done using automated softwares, and that is where can be done in the next 5 years or so.
And so if I look at the overall piece, I think blockchain will also become very critical in coming days, because there are n number of vendors and n number of people to be brought on the same platform, their data to be brought on, and that's where I think the transparency will be required, and blockchain, that's where it will be required. And there is again a big chunk of development required on this blockchain side, because blockchain on supply chain is not seen that much yet. I mean, there is a lot of progress yet to happen on blockchain. So what are your views on how that process will also happen along with this AI and ML on overall structure?
I think blockchain, even though I've really never seen things getting implemented on ground, but I think that is a big opportunity in logistics per se, because when you build out logistics networks, especially larger networks and things, because logistics, I told you, is a function of geography also. So when you get into logistics companies get into newer markets, there's a problem of enough demand and demand. Like when your supply is more, when you're building a network, there's not enough demand also. So you can't deploy like all legs of logistics. Like let's say you've onboarded a customer for lane A to B, but again they don't have enough volume to give you so you need to have more customers. So can you partner up with another logistics company in that geography and use their line haul, right? So this is where I think this is the basic application of blockchain, where can we have a blockchain platform where he puts in this information. He's going from A to B and he's got so much space left in the vehicle, and can I make use of that? Because I have a requirement when I do procurement for freight, right? Can I make use of that? So this is where blockchain should come into play. But again, who is going to be the moderator? Who is going to build that? Who is going to control that? Right.
I'd like to add that that's the benefit of a blockchain, that you don't need a moderator or someone to control that. And what blockchain is mostly associated with anonymity these days, but the benefit of blockchain is actually transparency.
Yes.
Not anonymity. If there is, because there is no moderator. So if there is transparency, things become much more efficient. Just like you want to know which trucks am I capable of loading, or which are the freight rates across. So when transparency will be added through a blockchain, that will cause a big benefit to everyone in the ecosystem, rather than a few players.
Absolutely. Just to add on this blockchain, one of the common problems when we see this express logistics and PTL players, when they operate in India, we see that the utilization of the trucks is not properly happening.
Yes.
So, and it's very common in courier industry today. Because unfortunately, those who are at national level in India, they are not reaching to each and every pin code of the states. And courier, the way the industry is developed, people are very regional players. I mean, they are experts in their regions. But because you will see same truck going on the same route with 50% capacity each, and that's where that transparency is also needed. People don't share this data, and there lies a very big opportunity for optimization, because I've since worked with multiple courier companies. I've seen the same routes they are not optimizing. So I think that is where also I feel that use of blockchain will be there. But ultimately, I think to reach to that end goal of autonomous supply chains, and as I always see that to put the supply chains on autopilot mode, we'll have to start with the right data, and we'll have to gradually reach there. But that to happen, again, the environment is right now in India. I mean, as it is said, Amrit Kal, I mean, it's a right environment. It's just the use of data, and to start moving towards that, people will have to change their mindsets. That's what I feel. Yeah. I mean, any concluding remarks?
No, I think, one thing I keep telling everybody is, everybody is in a matter of 5 years, every company, regardless of industry, is going to be data company. Right? Everybody. So technology will be just tools, managing data again. So data centricity is a big problem when it comes to like organizations. So organizations, how are they managing their basic master data and metadata itself within the organization? Because you see, sales guys coming with their data, and the finance guys coming with their data, like operational guys coming with their own data. So I think companies, if they focus more on data centricity and management of data better, vendors of these technology and tools can come and plug in, and then actually create value out of them.
True,
so this
true.
is something I keep telling our company, our people, and also everybody. Like I talk to just focus on your data centricity, data governance and things, and then when the right time comes, you can make use of those data and information, and then actually bring value to the customer. Yeah.
Any concluding remarks?
I think I agree with Aqil here that, every company is a data company, right? We started out to be as a product company in the beginning, and then we are an operational company, a service-based company. But what we truly are in the end is a data management platform, right? Data is the new fuel. That is a part of our investor pitch, but that is also true in a lot of ways. That data will gonna be a currency for a company like ours, for a country like India. That's where data will come into play.
That's true. So I think we'll open this floor now for any questions, because we are almost moving to the conclusions. So if you have any questions, please.
Hi, good afternoon. I just have a small question, but before that, I'll give a brief context as to what I want to ask. Logistics and supply chain as an industry is very typical in the sense that has a lot of fragmentation. It has a lot of fragmentation in terms of the number of players that are a part of the value system. And with 80%, 75% of the sector being unorganized, what you've been talking about, the sanctity of the data itself is a very big question mark. So this is the context. Now my question is, with the ULIP and the e-log portals coming in the next year or so and becoming very strong, this thing by 2025 it is expected. So the quality of data as a problem, which is right now the biggest problem that we have in adoption of these technologies, will get sorted in the coming year or maybe year and a half, right? So what are the kind of use cases that we are now working upon or that we are now solving so that, by the time the data becomes available, we are ready and to take it to the market? So that's what I wanted to ask, because...
Right. When I say use cases, okay, these are the engines. We know logically what the engines are needed to be able to reach to those data-driven decision-making things. And in India, I think there are enough good amount of startups who are building engines around these areas. Now the data quality, I again will not say that 100% it is not up to the mark, because as I always say, the Indian intelligence, we have found solutions around, if the data is bad, how to convert that into a good data. I mean, at least to a acceptable limit wherein my engine will give me at least like 70-80% of right results. And with those 70-80% right result, that still we are able to implement it on the ground with a good result, because there are so many low-hanging fruits today. Okay, we are able to convert this into some good results already. And this we have seen in the, with my current company and as well as my previous experiences as well. Now with these portals of ULIP and this, these coming in, obviously the accuracy of these things will go up. But parallelly, that development of technology will also happen, because any engine that we have developed today is basis the current requirement. Classic 80-20 rule. If these are my problems, if once these problems get sorted, new problems will start coming up. So the same time, the development, the maturity of those platforms will continuously happen. Same maturity of those algorithms will happen, and will start absorbing more and more external data sets with the availability of these things. So the way the machine learnings are defined, again, there will be different nodes, and more the nodes we add, more the external data sets we add, the accuracy of the output will start going up. So it's just taking the quality of the data to the next level, parallelly taking the quality of the algorithms to the next level. That will take us to the, and this is a classic journey, I think everyone will follow through. That's how I would answer it. Any other points you want to add?
No, I think it's not just. I think it's everybody's selfless. I don't know. I think all of us should keep. So when we work with our tech, not tech vendors, freight vendors, we are now trying to teach them things. Whatever we know, are we able to give to them? So we keep asking them, why don't you use this tool for this, or why did you use, start, even, organizing your financial transactions really well, or, basic stuff, So if I think as companies, as medium-sized companies, if they also look into, helping these, smaller players get into this mindset better, right? And also, not just, basically, we are a part of a large network, right? So every node, if they keep pushing, knowledge, to and up and down, over time, this should stabilize to a certain extent. But I keep telling, this is still a multi-decade problem because of the fragmentation, how fragmented we are today. Like even super hyper locally, it's super fragmented. Like you go to a small town, you see like multiple logistics, transporters, right? So it's that's why it's a long way to go. Like, but yeah, these organized 10%, they'll adopt things faster, and then they'll slowly, yeah, trickle down slowly. Yeah.
Or sometimes I see that the way UPI got adopted by each and every person there, the solution will come in where unknowingly people will have to follow, right? Today we see a problem where, if you put a GPS on a particular trip on a vehicle, most of the drivers, they themselves will disconnect that GPS, and they will ensure that, they are not tracked. Something or the other things will come in where they will not know, but they will get tracked. That development will definitely happen. And one of the things is like the way Bharat's 6 engines, six engines are developed, I think we can track them easily, right? I mean, that's how the future will be. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So this question to Udhbav, but others can also answer if they have something. So, when you have a lot of these GPS traces specifically about that, of course there will be other data you might be working on, but all those GPS traces, and it's one thing to, we can create charts and reports and stuff and say, okay, what is where, and you can pull it out and show that. But are there any specific use cases you could want to point out where your customers, as your logistics partners, who are running the logistics, they actually had, increase in revenue or improvement in direct bottom line by doing something exploratory or doing something interesting from the data. So if you can give me some such example, it will be like enlightening.
So one of the common examples for this is risk analysis, right? When you look at telematics GPS data, where the vehicle is going. Is it going on time? Is it going in the right route? That's all information is available and fairly available from a lot of companies. But how much of a risk is that to not the truck, but the cargo, which is more valuable to customers right now? Truck comes second, and sadly, driver comes third. But cargo is the most valuable part, and the risk to the cargo can be calculated using just these telematics data based on historical data. So for example, the number of kilometers the driver took, the number of hours the driver took, the number of route deviations, number of stoppages, any kind of pattern that happened before, which could correlate to a high risk delivery, that if gets flagged. These companies who work on a random testing phenomena, okay, 100 trucks have been delivered, let's check 5 of them. What we build is that we can give them a risk score of a higher risk vehicle. So they only have to check the higher risk vehicles. And that ensures that even if the risk is not there, it creates a pseudo security system for companies that drivers and any other malicious party will not try to steal the cargo. So, and that is built on top of this. So such kind of analytics are already in place by us, by some of our competitors. And that, like when data becomes even more structured, will just improve the accuracy. So instead of giving a high risk score, we can now give a guaranteed theft score. Right? That's the only switch will happen. But right now, if the companies are able to give risk analysis, so that's one example that works and just works on simple GPS data.
So I have two cases to share in this area. So one of the things was we use this GPS data. Vendors' GPS data to. So this company was an agri-tech company where they were cutting corns from the fields, and they brought these corns to the hydrations unit, and they wanted to do it in within 8 hours the time the corn was cut on the field. So what we did was as soon as the GPS, so the truck started from the source, we could actually sequence the trucks on the hydrations. So we used to estimate the times, by what time the truck will arrive, and then after that, what will be the sequence of the hydration units. Like this truck will be going for unit number 1, this truck will go to unit number 2. And basis the timely signals we were receiving from the GPS, we altered these sequences of the trucks on the hydration unit so that they could be hydrated in time. So that was one use cases we used from the end customer. And second one is this is latest 2 implementations I've done in these areas, wherein we optimize the network for express logistics companies. So one of the challenges in express logistics companies are when they do these line haul movements, they want to reduce their usage of market vehicles. So if they have a attached or own vehicle, that vehicle should run from A hub to B hub to a C hub, or whichever direction it is running. So we did a design for them, and then we were taking a call when to use an market vehicle. So basis of how the vehicle is running, if it is running as per the design, so design versus actual, we were continuously comparing, and we were taking a call that today we'll require a market vehicle, start looking for an additional market vehicle tomorrow because my truck is already delayed, or there is something expected on the truck. So by even doing design versus actual monitoring, we reduced the market vehicle usage significantly. So that improved a lot of cash flows for the express logistics companies there. So these 2 examples we implemented.
Couple of use cases we have seen from using IoT devices, like telematic devices. One is obviously the fuel thefts. That's very super controlled, because drivers are usually now scared in some ways, except when there is ad hoc drivers coming. Most of the cases we have seen ad hoc drivers stealing fuel. And second thing is we have quite well drastically reduced idling, vehicle idling. Yeah, that is something people don't really, look into much. But idling, people, when the engine is on and but vehicle is not moving, driver must be sleeping in the vehicle for some time. So this is something we have quite well, we have managed quite well. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the esteemed panelists and the moderator for their participation in today's session. Before we begin with our next panel discussion, I would like to thank our associate partner, Google and MessageBird, growth partner, Paytm Ads, Lanyard partner, Kerala, conversation media partner, Bobble AI, agenda partner, Disney Star, track partner, TCI, digital transformation partner, Accenture India, digital media partner, Jagran New Media, silver partners, Clever Tap and AWS, bronze partners, Hexaboni, Mool.one, Exotel, Notify Visitors, PaySprint, True Balance, and conversation partner, Value First. Thank you.